Yeah. Can you see? But do I need to close it? I can end it. Hey y'all. Hello. Yes, I is just hey, y'all. Two on one person. Two on one person. Oh, that's you. My bad. Hey y'all. Everybody's having a good morning. It's gonna be so let's get into it. Say what? Uh, hope everybody's having a good morning. I hope everybody is all right. All right. I was just trying to get in so I could see if somebody said something. As y'all can see from the title, y'all know what I'm talking about today. In the past 2 weeks, over 30 people have lost their lives doing everyday, normal activities. Going to the grocery store, teachers going to work, kids going to school. And they didn't make it home, huh? And they didn't make it home. It's just, it's devastating to think that we can't do the basic things without having to worry about whether or not somebody is going to be mad with the government, somebody's going to be mad with their girlfriend, somebody's going to get mad with their mama, somebody's not going to like the fact that somebody told him no, and they just going to go shoot up something. We live like we're in an active war zone, and we're not. And the government officials and people who are supposed to collectively protect us, that we hire to protect us, that we vote into office, that we put our confidence in, the only thing they have for us are thoughts and prayers. Our thoughts and prayers go to the victims' families. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims. Our thoughts and prayers go out. That's nice and all, but what are you doing to combat the situation? What are you doing to make it so we don't have to look over our shoulder like we live in countries that are in active war zones? We live in a country that's not in an active war zone, but we have to worry about whether or not they're going to start shooting up the grocery store or shooting up the school or shooting up the high school or shooting up the nightclub you go to or shooting up the church you worship in or shooting up the movie theater that you go watch your movies at. Hold on, y'all. Let me look at the chat. Hey Debbie, how you doing? Hey Miss Tells the Truth. Hey everybody. Hey everybody who has not spoken. Hey y'all. We are not safe. And I understand that crime happens. I'm not talking about everyday crime. I'm not talking about things that happen on a constant basis. Yes, we have to be worried about robberies and things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Yes, Miss Debbie, it is called hate. But that's I've seen an active war zone. We live in America, and I'm sorry anybody who doesn't think that America is not built on hate. It is not built on. It's built on that. It's built on hate and racism. It's built on the backs of other people taking advantage of other people. It is what it is. If you live in America, that is the country we have grown into. I am 55 years old, and I used to live in the deep South. And trust me when I tell you it is alive and well, and it's not going to go anywhere until we recognize that. However, this is 2022, and the first thing people say is gun control, and we need active gun control. Gun control does not mean you have to give up all your weapons. Gun control does not mean that as a responsible gun owner, you can't have weapons in your house. I do, and plan to get more. However, there's a process that should be taken when you do that. There should be more checks and balances set up to obtain a weapon. It should not be as easy to get a gun as it is to go out and go to Walmart and pick up a bag of cookies. That shouldn't be how easy it is. Yes, we're divided instead of united. And here's the thing with that. There have always been throughout history one group of people who thought they were better, more important, more advanced than another group of people. That has always been. And I don't know the solution for that. Here's the thing, Miss Debbie. I understand what you're saying, but you do realize that a lot of these terrorists, and because that's what they are. They're domestic terrorists. When you say terrorists, you think about countries from the Middle East and overseas. But the reality is, more Americans are killed by American domestic terrorists than anything can happen outside of our country. That being said, they use religion and God as an excuse for what they do. You look at prayer and church and God as your spirituality, as what you believe in, and it's all loving and all encompassing. But you have to understand, they use God and religion and Christianity as a weapon. They use God, religion, and Christianity as an excuse to do what they're doing. It is my God given right. That is the first thing they will say. It is my God given right to bear arms. It is my God given right to protect my family. It is my God given right as a white person. It is my God given right as a man to do this, and the third. Even if you bring him back, baby. God never went anywhere. Yes, Christianity, religion, God, all of these things have never went anywhere. But there should be a separation of church and state, because what you feel is morally right, what you feel is godlike and Christian, may not be what the next person feels. Everybody doesn't worship the same. You may be worshiping the same God, but everybody doesn't worship the same. And then you have to take into account people who are not Christian and who have their own deities that they worship, but still live in America. They use Christianity as a as a shield. They use God as a shield. I'm doing this because it's morally right, because God said so. Did he really? Did he? They use the Bible to justify what is done to children. They use the Bible to justify slavery. They use the Bible to justify these things. And that's sad, but that's just how they do it. And you can't tell them not. You can't tell them they're wrong. I hear. I like to that. He is here, but he is not being used for the purpose of us being here in the Bible. Yes, Miss Debbie, but he what I'm telling you is what I'm saying, not what I'm telling you. What I'm saying is that you see he's not being used. Hey Morris, you see it because that's not how you worship. Because when you think of God and Christianity, you think of love, you think of acceptance, you think that God will show us the way and that he is the compass by which we should direct our lives. But that's not how a lot of people see it. Yes, that's not how a lot of people see it. And what do we do? What do we do? Because we are still having to send out thoughts and prayers to people who are burying their children, to people who are burying their parents. Do you know that most of the people who were killed last week in the Buffalo shooting were over the age of 60? There were grandmothers and there were grandparents and great grandparents who just went to the store to pick up dinner, to grab a roll of toilet paper, and they're not going home. The children that were killed yesterday were second, third, and fourth graders who just went to school because that's what they're supposed to do. And what's the solution? I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what we can do. And people say that guns don't kill people, people kill people. You're correct. But if somebody who has a mental illness, somebody who is mentally unstable, somebody who is a zealot, Haiti, somebody who is a zealot, somebody who believes what they believe above all else, if they had a tougher time getting a gun, then maybe we wouldn't have to send out so many thoughts and prayers to people mourning the death of a loved one. And I'm not saying, I will never say you shouldn't be able to purchase a gun. I'm saying that just like anything else that's dangerous, yes, T, I'm saying that anything else that's dangerous, you need to take more precautions. To drive a car, I live in Virginia. For my son to get his permit, he has to be 15 and 3/4 to get the permit. He has to take driver's ed classes for I think 9 months, even into his 16th birthday, before he can even go for his driver's test. He can't be in the car in Virginia, even if you have a valid driver's license. If you're under a certain age, you can't be driving around with kids. You're not supposed to be driving around with a bunch of kids your age in the car without an adult. You can't do this, and this. You have to go through this hoop, jump through this hoop, sign this piece of paper, go to this class to drive a car. That's what you have to do. To get a gun, you have to go to some place that sells a gun, fill out a piece of paper, wait a couple of days, and go pick up your gun. And that's it. There's no, did you get trained in how to use this gun? There's no, do you know the correct way to use the gun? There's no, hey, you have a psychiatric issue. Maybe you shouldn't have a gun. There's none of that. There's none of that. You have to do more to get married than you do to buy a gun. And the only person you hurt when you get married is you and your spouse. And they make it easier and easier. And not only that, not only can you just get a gun for protection, why do civilians, and I say that for a reason, why do civilians need military grade assault rifles? Yes, Blanche. Why do civilians, and hear me, most of the people that buy these assault rifles could not be in the military, could not pass a psych evaluation. They could not be a police officer. But they can go to a store, or they can go to a pawn shop, or they can go to a gun show and come out with an arm full of AR-15 and anything just because they want them. It is my God-given right. I'm a God-fearing American, and the Constitution says I have a right to bear arms. The Constitution was written in a time where there was no police force. There were no set of laws, just set laws. There were certain things. You used to get hanged for stealing a horse. So there you go. So when they wrote these laws, when they wrote these constitutional amendments, they wrote it for the time in which they were writing for. They didn't write it for the future. Hell, they didn't write it for 20 years in the future. They wrote it for the present time in which they were living in. This is 2022, and they have not updated or ratified any of these constitutional rights to adjust to the future. Here's the thing, y'all. Here's my thing. I grew up in the South. I grew up in a house full of weapons, shotguns, rifles, handguns. When I was old enough to stand up, my grandfather showed me the difference between a rifle, a shotgun, a handgun. He showed me how to shoot one because my uncle and my grandfather had both been in the military. My grandfather went to, I want to say he was in World War II or Korean War, and my uncle was in Vietnam. And they showed me the proper way to shoot a rifle and what would happen so that I would understand that by picking up this weapon, by picking up this piece of machinery, that at the end of that, I could end the life of something or someone. I was taught that at a very young age. So I have a respect for weapons because I understand that my one moment of being upset with somebody, my one moment of being pissed off and mad and wanting to cuss and fight, if I pick up a gun and I shoot it and I hit somebody, I could end somebody's life for one moment of me being pissed off. I have a healthy respect for guns because I understand that 1 second, one moment can change not only somebody else's life, but mine. Because I went from normal, everyday Lisa to Lisa that took somebody's life. And regardless of whether or not it was warranted, that is a heavy price to put on your soul. That is a heavy load to carry. that you ended somebody's life. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and tell y'all that if my life wasn't threatened or the life of my child and my family wasn't threatened, that I would empty a clip in somebody. I'm assuming I would. But that doesn't change the fact that I have to carry the burden of the loss of life, even if I felt like it was justified. They don't take that in consideration. Excuse me, y'all. They don't take that into consideration. The people that we have to worry about, the people that take up arms and go out against defenseless people. Politicians are looking for the dollar and not at people who voted them into office. That's correct. I'm in VA and my mom had a handgun. My dad had a rifle, but he wouldn't let me touch either. Me personally, when you tell a child not to touch something, that's the first thing they want to touch. If you teach somebody why things happen, what will happen when they do this. If you teach a child that it's just not me telling you not to touch this gun because you could hurt yourself, but I need you to know why you can hurt yourself. Every day, a child picks up a gun and shoots himself in the face or shoots and kills his sibling or a parent because nobody told them what would happen if they put their finger on the trigger. And it's nice to say that you should put it in the gun safe. You should do this and this. But the reality is everybody doesn't. But if you teach your children that this can end your life, this is just not a gun. This is just not a piece of furniture. This is just not an accessory. This is just not something mommy and daddy has in the house like a statue or a picture. And you let them know that if you touch this, you could die. We have to stop treating our kids like they are. We treat our children like they're not learning, growing beings. We treat our children like if we tell them that everything is fruits and berries and unicorns and rainbows and sparkles and glitter, that nothing will touch them. But that's not reality. Yes. That's not the reality. Our children walk out of our house every day into the world and into a world that does not care about them. They say they do. Politicians say they're about the children. Pro-lifers say they're about the life of the child. The life starts at conception. However, once the child is out of the birth canal and breathing the air of other people, they don't care about our children. They don't care whether our children eat. They don't care whether or not their parents make enough money to take care of them. They don't care about whether or not our children get an education. They do not care. And if you think they do, you are willfully blind. Every program that is presented, they look at it and they're like, well, no, we shouldn't do that. Let's get rid of this. Let's do this. They'll ban a book because because they think it's too much for children. And then they'll turn around and try to get rid of free lunch because you should have enough money to pay the lunch for your kids. And they'll turn around and they'll get rid of after school programs and before school programs for parents who have to work 2 or 3 jobs to keep food on the table and clothes on their back. They do not care about our children. They do not. How many? Now I don't watch the news because the news depresses me. I'll read the timeline and I'll go on and I'll read different news feeds to see what happened during the day. But as far as watching the news, it pisses me off because a newscast will go from the tragedy in Texas to talking about There was a bear on the porch in Alaska. I don't want to. I'm not going to watch it. The news is our children. So maybe some of y'all who watch the news can tell me. Right now, right now the country is bracing for the overturning of Roe versus Wade, which makes um, abortion legal and accessible in America. They're trying to overturn that. So I would like to know. I would like to know if anybody in the chat and anybody in stream can tell me how many pro-life advocates and leaders came out yesterday and spoke about the tragedy that happened to the 19 children. And these were not teenagers, these were not even preteens. These were children, second, third, and fourth grade. This was an elementary school. So, how many of the pro life advocates and the pro life leaders came out speaking about the loss of 19 children yesterday? How many pro lifers spoke about the tragedy in Buffalo last week? It's not about pro life. It's about pro control. It is about it is about forcing your religious beliefs onto others. And they do not care about our children. They do not care about our old people. They do not care about the living. They do not. Parents are not paying attention to their children. Their children be going through mental health crisis and they'll dust it off, shake it off. You all right? We don't believe in that. Ain't nothing really wrong with you. What's wrong with you? Why you sad? Why you this? Why don't we talk anymore? Why can't I go in your room? What are you doing all the time? Thank you, Miss Debbie. Program after program after program is being shut down, stopped, underfunded, defunded for children that are already here. Women are having life-threatening pregnancies because they live in areas to where they're not accessible to an abortion or to even discuss having one. You can live in certain states now to where it doesn't matter if the mama dies, as long as the child can float around in some amniotic fluid for a while. It's okay if the mother dies. Somebody will take care of the kid. We can put the kid in foster care. Our thoughts and prayers go out with you. That's the first thing they say. That's the first thing they say. And that hurts my spirit. That hurts my soul when I hear somebody get up and say, our thoughts and prayers are with you. When the governor gets up and he can't say anything other than our thoughts and prayers are with you. He can't say that we're going to put into effect tougher gun laws to where it's harder to get a gun, to where you have to go through a background check and a psychiatric check. Do you know you have to jump through more hoops to rent an apartment than you do to get a gun? Civilians should not be able to have automatic weapons. Period. Point blank. End of discussion. Why do you need an automatic weapon? You're not hunting with automatic weapons because you'll destroy the meat. So why do you need an automatic weapon to go hunt Bambi? You're not hunting with those. You're not. That's not. What are you doing? You just stockpiling guns in your house so that one day when your wife pisses you off so bad that you can't see straight, that you go shoot up everything in the house. Or you wait till she goes to work. And so you can go downstairs in your basement into your gun cabinet and get out this AR-15 and and you go up to her job and you shoot her and everybody around her. I'm not just talking about what happens now. I'm talking about what has happened for the past 20 and 30 years. How many people we can't do any normal activities without having to worry about whether or not somebody is pissed off with somebody else. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking about anything y'all are doing. I'm talking about going to a restaurant and old boy had a bad day. So he goes and get his automatic rifle and he comes up to McDonald's and shoots up the restaurant. I'm talking about the husband who is pissed off with his wife because he doesn't like the fact that she wants to get a divorce or that she has to work or that he can't get a job. So he goes up to her job and he shoots her and everybody in her office. I'm not just talking about what happened yesterday. I'm talking about the young people in Virginia Tech who didn't go home to their parents because some girl told him no. I'm not just talking about what happened yesterday or last week. I'm talking about people having a church service, having choir rehearsal, and they didn't go home after they welcomed him into the church because he looked like he might have needed a shoulder to cry on or somebody to talk to, and now they don't go home. I'm talking about going to watch a movie. And if you've ever been in a movie theater, you know how disorienting it can be because it's dark and how hard it is to find an exit, even though one is lit up. I'm talking about not being able to go see a movie. I'm talking about not being able to go see a concert because you're afraid that some dude is going to take a gun or several guns and make it so that it's a shooting gallery to kill as many people as possible. I'm talking about not being able to go to a nightclub because maybe somebody doesn't like the fact that you're gay, or maybe they don't like the fact that they are. Oh, yes, sir. Stay in the house. We should not let our own real. Right. We can't go anywhere. In school, it was a joke. If we see the kids coming in with the trench coats and the double bags, start running. How many times have you watched somebody get fired and you wonder whether they were going to come back because they thought they didn't deserve to be fired? How many times have you thought about that? How many times have you thought about when you saw Steve get fired and you wonder whether or not he was going to come back and shoot up the job? You can't go to a mall, any place where a lot of people congregate, because you wonder whether or not you look at somebody sideways if they're carrying a duffel bag. You look at somebody a little sideways if they're moving differently. And this is just not for the normal due diligence. When you're out by yourself, you look around. What have we come to, y'all? You can't go to work. You can't go to church. Can't go to the movies. You can't go to school. Where can we go? What can we do? If we call for stricter gun laws, you're trying to take the guns out of the hands of God fearing Americans. That's the first thing you hear. The government is trying to take our guns. We don't give a shit about your guns if you're not gonna go kill up the kids in school or the people at the grocery store or the folks watching the movie. We don't care about your guns. We care about the access that somebody who wants to do somebody harm having guns. If you just normal John Q. Public and you want to have guns because you like them, fine. But it should not be as easy to get. It's harder to get a car. It takes longer to get a car. You need more. Do y'all understand that you need more information to rent a car than you do for a gun? Do you know there are so many workarounds with gun sales? You can go to a gun show and walk out with a gun. They don't have private sales, don't have the same rules and regulations as going to a store or a pawn shop. And the first thing they say right after that you're trying to take our guns, they say, well, the best way to combat gun violence is to have good gun owners. The best way to defeat a bad guy with a gun is to have a good guy with a gun. Okay. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you're correct. Let's say that um, yesterday, one of the teachers, because after a while, they started talking about, well, let's arm the teachers, you know. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you don't have a trained professional person with a gun. You have everyday Joe Schmo who maybe went to the gun range one time, who maybe the most they know about that gun is how to put the bullets in and out of it and where the safety is. What is that good person going to do with that gun? You are now in a situation where you're fighting for your life. So you have this gun. Because they said a good guy with a gun can defeat a bad guy with a gun. Can they really? Have you ever seen just one police officer show up when they have a active shooter? Don't worry, I'll wait. Have you ever seen just one good guy with a gun? Yep, can't correct it here. Uh, have you ever seen on TV, on the news? Have you ever seen just one police officer show up at an active shooter? It is 10, 20, 30 cop cars, 40, 50, 60 cops, all with guns, trying to get one person. But they want you, civilian, not trained, gun owner, to walk around with your gun because you're the good guy with the gun and you could have stopped the old boy yesterday. Well, you couldn't have stopped him from killing his grandma because he did that at the house. And you didn't have precautions set up at the school because he just walked in. My son is in high school. I have to show my ID through a little thing. I have to buzz, show my ID, stand back so they can see me before they'll buzz me in. I don't want to talk about the police because they don't need guns neither. But all I'm saying is this. How often does one person with a gun show up at an active gun shooter? You have the police officers. You'll sometimes have sheriff deputies. You'll have SWAT. So you have automatic weapons and guns and bullets, and not just one person, but several. So, what are you, as a civilian person who is in a fight for their life, going to do against an active shooter that only one of them couldn't do? I'm not going to say you shouldn't have a gun in your house to protect yourself in case somebody breaks in and tries to harm you and your family. I'm not going to say that because, like I said, that's not my reality. That's not my reality. But if I or somebody in my household was mentally unstable, I would make sure that they had absolutely positively no access to a weapon. If I saw that my child was having struggling with their mental health, I would try to get them help. If I saw that my child was having terroristic ideology, was trying to follow behind, because you got to understand a lot of this stuff, the Buffalo shooter had a 180 page, not line, but page manifesto, a testimony of why he was felt the way he felt, why he needed to do what he needed to do, and why he was doing what he was about to do. Are you not checking up on your kids? Are you not asking them how they doing? Are you not paying attention to the changes in them? Or are you just being, oh, he's just, he's just going through something? I grew up to where we don't knock on our children's door. My mama didn't knock on my door. She came in. She looked around my room. She checked in my closet just to make sure I wasn't losing my mind in there. And regardless of whether or not I felt like she was invading my privacy, I was a child and I wasn't paying no mortgage. So what the hell was I going to say? But now I see as a parent that she was doing that to make sure that if something were popping off, she would at least understand and try to help me with it. But Miss Debbie, check this out. Miss Debbie, check this out. Most of the acts of terrorism that have been committed on American soil have been domestic terrorists, have been Americans committing acts of terrorism against other Americans. They try to scare us with the Middle Eastern boogeyman. They try to scare us with that. 9/11 was a tragedy upon epic proportions. But that's not the only terrorism that America faces. And that's not the terrorism that America faces on a daily basis, minute to minute, hour to hour, second to second, day to day, month to month basis. It is our homegrown terrorists. It is those that feel like they do not have to listen to the government. It is those that feel like the only way that their point is going to get across is if they cause devastation and harm. It is American grown terrorists who stockpile weapons, who live off the grid, who write manifestos. What are we going to do about them? Timothy McVeigh, blew up the IRS building in Oklahoma. Did he stop the IRS? No. Did he even slow the IRS down? No. But did he kill women and children? Yes, he sure did. David Koresh, stockpiling weapons, saying that he was the new Messiah and that the American government have no control and no power over them, couldn't tell them what to do. They didn't have to obey any laws. And that these weapons, all these guns, we were going to make a statement against the bureaucracy and the government. You know who died? Women and children. Men too. I'm not scared. Realistically, I'm not scared of somebody from another country coming here and doing something else. I'm not scared of that. I'm scared of the people that are born right here. I'm scared of the people that have no regard for anybody else other than themselves. I'm scared of the people who are so, trying to think of the word, I don't know, they're zealots. They are so entrenched in their beliefs in God and country that they really don't pay attention to the Bible that they thump. It's like they don't read the same Bible. It's like it's easy to take passages out of the Bible to justify the death and destruction. But it's like they don't read it at all. They don't love thy neighbor. They don't turn the other cheek because that doesn't fit their agenda. 19 children died yesterday. 19. This is the last count I heard. 19 yesterday. I think Sandy Hook was 22. Children. Children. Hear what I just said. Children. Columbine. Sandy Hook. Uvalde. Virginia Tech. What was the other one? I can't think. Yeah. No, we don't love one another. No, we don't. We don't love one another. We tolerate. We humor. We judge, but we don't love one another. The village doesn't raise the kids anymore. You can't tell nobody about their children. You can't tell. You can't tell little Timmy's mom, hey, you might want to watch him. He gets a little overly upset. He gets a little violent when he gets upset. Because the first thing little Timmy's mama say, not my little Timmy, that he would never do that. That's not. You're mistaken. You don't know what you're looking at. You can't tell parents, hey, he looks like he's sad. He's been kind of down in class. He's been isolating himself. Well, I don't know what you're doing wrong. What are you doing wrong? Why is he doing that with you? Not, hey, thank you. Let me talk to him. Maybe let me see if I need to take him to a therapist. Hey, Denise. I, if my teacher, if teacher, when teachers tell me something about Nick, I don't say, no, not my Nick. Because the reality is, I don't know what Nick is going through at school. I don't know what he has to put up with because I'm not a 17-year-old boy who's in high school in 2022. I don't know what he's going through. So if a teacher tells me, hey, he's been kind of withdrawn, he's acting a little different, he's been getting mad more often, then I'm gonna say thank you for letting me know. Let me see what I can do. Why are we not asking them, not just asking them every day, how was your day, but making them talk to us sometimes? I make him talk to me sometimes. Hey, Denise, I stop. And I know he don't want to because he's a 17-year-old boy. But I'll stop and I'll make him talk to me sometimes about what's going on, about his friends. And I just let him talk. I don't guide the conversation. I'll ask him something and then I'll ask him another question, but I just let him talk and I tell him, you can say whatever, I don't care. Just say whatever because I want to hear what he has to say. I don't want to hear what he has to say just because he's in front of me. I want to hear what the fuck he has to say. Excuse me. I want to hear if he say it. I want to hear him talk because somebody that is around him more during the day than I am has let me know that maybe my son might be going through something and maybe I don't see it, but maybe I need to check on him. Do you know how many of these parents say, I didn't know? I didn't know that he had all those guns. I didn't know that he was feeling that way. I didn't know that he was upset. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know that he was talking to these people online. I didn't raise him to be racist. I didn't raise him to see color. I didn't raise him to do that. I didn't know that that's what he was thinking. I wish that we would stop saying that shit. Yes, but not just letting them. That's good, but let them talk. Sometimes kids need to talk without fear of parents getting upset. And I know how that goes against everything in the parent handbook, but sometimes you got to give your kids a free day to let them say whatever they want to say without fear of repercussions. And you have to mean that, regardless of what your kids tell you, that you have to give your kids a free day. Free day. Once a month, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me. No repercussions, no punishment, nothing. Go and mean it. So that when it comes a time to where something happens, that they're not scared, that they're more scared of what's going on in the world than they are of you. As parents, we want our kids to not just respect us, but fear us to a certain extent so that they won't do things that we tell them not to do. However, that sometimes backfires on us because they won't come tell us the things we need to know because they're scared because we put that fear into them. I'm 55. How many in the chat that are 40 and older had wished that they could talk to their parents and tell them things, but they were too scared to do that? You were too scared to go tell your mom what was going on with you because you were scared of what she would do if you did, because of the fear that we instilled in our kids. because that fear was instilled to us growing up. See, I didn't grow up with school shooters. I didn't grow up with kids shooting up the school. I didn't do that. I didn't grow up with a lot of gun violence, period. I was an adult by the time that started happening. I wasn't scared to go to school. That's what's up. Yes, we are in the beginning, Sarah. We have to continue to pray. Trust God because it's going to get worse and worse. The government does not control over this and nothing else. Just stay. How many of us grew up and wished that we could go to our parents, but we didn't because we were scared? Scared of how they would react, scared of what they would do to us. And then we turned around and did that exact same thing to our kids. Sometimes you just gotta let loose. Sometimes you gotta say, hey, today you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, no repercussions. Just tell me. And you might be surprised at what you hear. You might be surprised at what you can do with that knowledge. Parents say, I didn't know. I didn't know they had guns. Are just as bad, or if not worse, than the parents who bought the guns. The boy that went to that's what's up, Miss Debbie. Um, I couldn't tell my grandmama anything. Growing up, I could tell her anything because she was raised with it's my way or the highway, and that's how she raised me. Growing up, I couldn't just tell her anything, and a lot of stuff I kept to myself, and I did a lot of dumb shit because of that. So it is what it is. So when I grew up and I finally had my kid, I decided that it's my way or the highway, but I need him to be able to talk to me. I need him to be able to come to me. I need for him to understand that he doesn't have to go talk to people on the outside because that's what happens. When your children can't come to you, they will find an adult. And trust me when I tell you, there are people out there right now that are waiting. They are waiting for parents to fuck up. They're waiting for parents to ostracize their kids. They're waiting for for parents to make their kids feel like they can't talk to them so that they can use them. There are predators on every level out there waiting for parents to make their kids feel afraid of them so that they can act differently. So that they can give your children what your child thinks he needs. She was the one I could trust her before my mother. Hear what I'm telling you. These children are being radicalized over the internet. Now, I love the internet because without the internet, it wouldn't be YouTube and I wouldn't be here talking to y'all. So I got no problem with the internet. I have none. However, there are people who predators are not new. Before there was the internet, they were lurking around parks and places where children congregate. Now they just have easier access over the web. But predators are not new. They didn't just pop out all of a sudden. They've always been there. But let me tell you some good stuff. If you ostracize your child, if you make your child scared of you to the point that they can't come to you, they will find somebody else. And there are people out there right now waiting for your kid to get online and talk about how sad they are and talk about how they can't talk to their parents, to talk about how their parents make them feel bad about themselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are people out there right now waiting for your children so that they can be the voice so that they can be the parent that your kid wants and not in a good way. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sorry that I have to say it like that, but there are predators out there waiting right now for you to make your daughter feel bad about herself. Instead of uplifting her and making it so nobody can touch her, you make her feel bad because her boobs came in early, because her period is on and now she's a woman, because she can't come to talk to you about the sexual things that are going on within her because you made sex a taboo in your house. So guess what? There's a predator right now waiting for her to say the wrong thing online so that they can sneak in and talk to them the way they want to talk to you. There's somebody out there right now waiting for your son or daughter to talk about how they feel about race or sexuality or gender. They're waiting. They're listening. Your children listen to you. And if they can't talk to you, they'll talk to somebody else about what you're talking about. Be careful what you talk about in your house. I don't care how you feel about racism. I don't care if you're racist. I don't care if you're a KKK. I don't. But know that your kids are right now listening to what you're saying. And if you make an environment to where they can't talk to you, they will talk to somebody else. And while you just may have been a run of the mill racist, you have now changed your child into a radicalized soldier because somebody else was out there telling him what he wanted to hear, making him understand what you were talking about, but showing him that what you were talking about was little, was nothing. This is what we can do together. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Racism is taught. You're not born like that. It is a learned behavior. And a lot of these terrorist attacks that are based on race, do you know the Buffalo boy drove hundreds of miles from his predominantly white area to a predominantly black area so he could kill as many black people as he possibly could find? Are you listening to what I'm saying? Because somebody got a hold to that little boy, because somebody heard what he was saying and knew that they could use that. There are people out there right now who will never lift a finger, who will never raise a gun, but they will turn your child into a weapon of mass destruction because your child can't talk to you. Because you weren't paying attention when you saw your child changing how he acted, changing how she dressed, changing their moods, and you didn't say anything. Oh, that's just a phase. Well, guess what? The young man yesterday was 18. His phase killed 24 people, 23 people, 19 children and 4 adults. No, 20, 25 people because he killed his grandmama too. The 18-year-old's phase last week killed 10, injured 14. But it was just a phase. So, sure. Yes, children need to be so high. Let me tell you something. I want Nick to be so stuck on himself and think so much of himself that can't nobody come online and tell him that he should do this or he can do that because he knows what he can, cannot, should not do because he's securing his 17-year-old self. So he'll be securing his 18-year-old self. So he You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, he shot the grandmother first. He killed his grandmother at home first. I won't say she died. Now she might. Hold on, let me look it up. Cause I thought she passed away, but I could be wrong. All right, let's see. I'm looking it up, by the way. So right now it's 21 killed. Oh, he did not. Oh, his grandmother did not die. He shot and wounded her. He killed 19 children, two teachers. He shot and wounded his grandmother. He also wounded 15 other children and a police officer before he was killed. So this young man yesterday shot 37 people. Out of the 37, he killed 21, 19 of which were kids between grades 2 to 4. Yes, no, she didn't die. She didn't pass away. I don't say he was on a warpath, but it didn't matter who or how many he killed. It's just as many as he could before somebody stopped him. And I don't know what these people think. I don't know if they think that they can go on a shooting rampage and kill tens of people and not get shot at by the police or whatever. I don't know. I don't, I don't know what their thought process is. I don't know what their end game is. Yeah. Well, they said she's in the hospital. They said grandmother didn't die. I don't know what they see. I see unless you think like that. I don't know what their end game is. I can't begin to tell you what a mass shooter's end game is. I can't begin to tell you. That's crazy. I can't begin to tell you what the end game is. I don't know what you thought you were going to accomplish. I don't know when the guy shot up the nightclub what you thought you were going to accomplish. I don't know what the guy who shot up the outside concert, I don't know what he thought he was going to accomplish. I don't know what school shooters think they're going to accomplish when they do these things. I don't understand the end game. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm okay, see, this is my thought process. If I'm mad with you, Miss Debbie, I'm mad with you. I'm just using you because you were the last person to comment. I'm not mad. If I'm mad with you, mad enough that I pick up my gun, check, make sure the safety is off, chamber around, walk to my car, get in my car, put my gun on the passenger seat, drive to where you at. If I'm mad with you, I'm not gonna kill the chick sitting next to you or the dude sitting across from you. I'm not gonna go into the Walmart and shoot at you. I'm not gonna go into the place you getting your dinner from. Cause I'm not mad with Walmart. I'm not mad with McDonald's. I'm not mad with your coworkers. My thought process is I'm mad with you. So I have a bullet for you. I don't understand getting turned down by a girl and shooting up the whole school. I don't understand. I don't understand my girlfriend breaking up with me to date somebody else so I shoot up the school. See, I don't understand that. Yes, Miss T, we do. I see. So I don't understand the end game of somebody shooting up a church or a grocery store or a movie theater. I don't understand that. I don't understand going into a school. I don't understand going into a nightclub. I don't understand going to a concert. I don't understand any of that because to me, there has to be a reason and there has to be an end game. There has to be something that you want to accomplish by doing this particular act. This particular act of violence should accomplish something. I'm doing this because you just sitting up there shooting up the club because you don't like gay people. You shooting up that club is not going to end homosexuality. It's not. You shooting up a church or a grocery store because I don't like black people. It's not going to end blackness in America. You shooting up the school because you got rejected or because somebody didn't like you the way you like them. It's not going to end rejection. Hell, you blowing up the IRS building is not going to end taxes. So I don't understand because the end game is nothing. It's nothing. You think that the government doesn't have anything, doesn't hold any power over you? That's fine. You go over there and you stay over there. And when the government comes to get their taxes or their fines or their fees or whatever, you argue with them. Don't get mad with the rest of the world or the rest of the country. You don't like black people? Don't deal with them. Beginning to end, don't deal with them. And I haven't even touched off shooting up the massage parlor. You don't like people um, Asian descent? Don't deal with them. You don't believe in homosexuality. I don't know what belief got to do with it, but however you want to say it, don't deal with them. What is you? What are you accomplishing by shooting random people because of some ideology in your head? Right, right, Miss Blanche. The hurt, no, the mind is on you. That mind is on you. Right, right. I don't see. To me, when I hear that, I don't know about anybody else, but when somebody said our thoughts and prayers are with you, shut up. And here's why. I automatically say a little prayer. I don't have to be told to do that. It's not a thought process. When I hear things like the shooting in Buffalo, shooting yesterday, any shooting, any time, not just any mass shooting, any time that somebody loses a loved one, I automatically my head goes to a little prayer, not just for the gone, but for the here. I don't need you to tell me that. I don't stop. I want politicians. I want mayors and police chiefs and governors and presidents and senators and House of Representative members. I want them to stop getting on camera. I want them to stop using this as a photo op. I want them to stop using this as a talking point. I want them to stop. The first thing they say is our thoughts and prayers don't mean shit, is what you should say because you don't care. You have the power to change things. You have the power to change things with the stroke of a pen. Us citizens, we can protest, we can picket, we can boycott, and we can do that, but that takes time. And during that time, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 more people will lose their lives. But the people that we elect into office, the people that we put there to for our best interest, with a swipe of a pen, can change. And they don't. And they don't. I'm so sick of your thoughts and prayers. They don't mean shit. You're not thinking about these kids. All you're thinking about is, I can use this as a way to get reelected because I'm hard on crime. You're not hard on crime, because if you were hard on crime, this would not have happened. Well, the criminals can still get the guns. I'm not worried about John Q. Criminal. I'm not worried about the booster that steals out of the Walmart store. I'm not worried about the drug dealer on the corner who got a gun, so don't want nobody to steal his dope and his dope money. That's not what the fuck I'm worried about. I'm worried about the 17-year-old boy who asks his parents for guns and they buy them, but they don't pay attention to the fact that their child is having a mental health crisis, to the fact that their child is depressed, to the fact that their child is sad. And then on the day when he goes to school and shoots up half the school, the only thing you can say is, I didn't see it coming. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about a criminal. These are not criminals. These are people who all of a sudden decided that they had the right to kill other people. These are not criminals. These are not nobody that was on people's radar. These are not the drug dealer on the corner, or the hitman, or the mafia. These are regular people. These are people's kids who woke up one day and decided that they were going to kill as many people as possible. And they could do it because somebody gave them access to guns. I'm not worried about the criminals, because guess what? The criminals will find a way to be criminals with a gun, with a knife, with a rock, with a crowbar. I'm talking about the person that gets up and decides, today is the day I'm going to be God. I'm going to decide who lives and who dies. Hey, Doreen. To everybody, I'm sorry, I really just hadn't looked in the chat. My bad. I was kind of talking. I'm not, let's say that I was listening to somebody talking today, and I've listened to um, proponents of guns, people who are against gun control. I've listened to them, and I've listened to people say the way you defeat a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. I've listened to them say that gun control is not going to help anything because guns don't kill people. People kill people. Well, guess what? They're using guns to do it. And guess what? I might be able to knock the shit out of one person if I throw a rock at them, but I can almost guarantee you, if I throw bullets at your ass, right? I'm not scared of a criminal because I see a criminal for who they are. That's a criminal. That's a drug dealer. That's a rapist. That's a murderer. Yo, hold on. Oh, come on in. I see them. That's their job. I see what they're doing. I'm not scared of them. I don't go where they are. They'd have to come to me. That's just like when I talk about I'm not gonna get eaten by a shark because I'm not gonna go where sharks live. You see what I'm saying? So unless the shark come to my house or the bear come to my house or the lion and the tiger, oh my, it's the same way with the criminals. Unless you come to me, I'm not gonna go on the corner and go, hey, Mr. Drug Dealer. I'm not worried about that. But I will go to a grocery store. I will go to a movie theater. I will go to a church. I'll go to a nightclub. I'll go to a concert. I will go to those places. Yep. I'm not worried about the criminals. Please stop saying that. Well, the criminals have the guns. Well, the criminals will always be able to get them because there'll always be some criminals. Always have been some criminals. Crime is the second oldest profession behind prostitution. What about criminals? Think about it. Think about it. Go with me. Go with me. What I'm saying here, y'all. These shooters, they weren't criminals the day before. They shot up everybody. They were just somebody's son, somebody's husband. Because not a lot of women. So it's not that I'm picking on dudes. It just happens to be there are more mass shooters that are men than women. So the day before, it wasn't criminals. Because see, criminals don't want to bring attention to themselves. Criminals don't want you looking at them. Criminals want to do their crime stuff in secret, and they don't want you to pay them any attention. They want to sell their drugs. They want to rob, steal. They want to, commit fraud. They want to do all this without you paying any attention to them. Criminals don't want to bring attention to themselves. So the day before, they were mass shooters. They was just a dude next door. They was just a kid that sit next to me in class. They weren't criminals. So it's not criminals with guns. It's the dude that sit next to you at work. It's the guy you shook hands with at church the other day. It's the dude in the checkout line on the other side. It's the guy standing in line with you to get popcorn in the movies. You get what I'm saying? All these places that we should be able to freely go because during the pandemic time, everybody was fussing about not being able to go here, 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 and here. Yeah. Now you can. But now do you want to? I don't know the solution, y'all. I don't. But I know that what we're doing now ain't working. I know that. I know the children. I know that 19 families, that 19 parents will never get a chance to see their kids go to prom, graduate from high school, go to college, date, have kids, all because Somebody woke up and decided they were going to play God today, and decided today was the day that I was going to kill as many people as I possibly could, but not people. I'm going to go kill me some kids. And the week before that, let me see something. So I'm going to look up mass shootings in America, not just today. In America this year. So far this year, and it is May, there have been 27 school shootings have taken place this year. There's a list of mass shootings in America. So I'm going to look and see. All right. Let me see here. Yeah. It just gave me a map. Let's see. Yeah, that's not doing it. Yeah, that's not doing it. Let's see. Oh, no, yeah. It's, yes, 22, 20, yeah, 17. So, yeah, I guess this year, yes. I almost believe that we will never be able to control the people of the guns at this point. I mean, the reality is, y'all, crime is what it is. Crime is a part of life. People, there will always be people who think that they don't have to work for things. There will always be people who, instead of being happy with what they have, they covet what they want and they'll take it by any means necessary. There have always been people like that. There have always been country. Hell, that's how America became about. That's America. America is one big crime scene. So the settlers saw what they wanted. It wasn't theirs, but they wanted it, so they took it. America's one big crime scene. So yes, 27. That's just school shootings, y'all. 27 school shootings have taken place in this year alone, in 2022. There have been over 200 mass shootings this year. There have been 212 mass shootings have occurred this year so far as of yesterday. And a mass shooting is defined as four or more people were shot or killed, excluding the shooter. So if four or more people were killed in one shooting, that's considered a mass shooting. By the end of 2021, there were 693 mass shootings. 693 by the end of the year. We're already at 212 in May. I don't understand. I don't. I don't get it, y'all. I don't. I don't. I don't. I'm just. I'm just at a loss. I'm just at a loss. Texas, Ohio, South Carolina. There was a mass shooting. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. All right, so this is a list of just May, for May 10th. I'm just looking at the first page. I'm not even going to look at any others. For May 10th, to May 24th, there was a mass shooting. 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 15th. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the 15th of May, which was a Sunday. Which was a Sunday. 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd. I mean, not on the 22nd. There were 2 mass shootings on the 23rd and then one yesterday. This is just the first page. There are 9 pages. South Carolina was Tuesday. Yep. Yep. It was, hold on. The 23rd, there was one in Cleveland, Ohio. The 23rd, there was also one in South Carolina. On the 21st, Indiana and Washington. On the 20th, there were 3: Louisiana, California, and Florida. On the 19th, there was one in Illinois, one in Pennsylvania on the 18th, one in California on the 17th. And on the 15th, when there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mass shootings in one day, it was one in California, 2 in North Carolina, 2 in Texas. The 14th was a Buffalo shooting. 13th was Wisconsin. 12th was Arkansas. There were 4 on the 11th of May. New Jersey, Indiana, Missouri, and Illinois. There was 1 in Maryland and Baltimore. And on the 10th of May, there was 1 in Illinois. This was crazy. I'm looking at this. This is crazy. "47 people were killed between May 10th and May 24th in mass shootings." Excuse me. Yeah. What, Baltimore? Yeah, hold on. Hold on, Miss Debbie. Hold on. Baltimore, Maryland, May 10th. 5 people were shot. No one died. I guess they don't publicize it if no one dies. I guess they can't, you know, hype it up if no one passes away. 17 people were shot in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on May 13th, on a Friday. It's just it's ridiculous. I, I don't even know what to do with the information. It boggles the mind that people just so willfully take lives. It boggles the mind. These are brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and sons and daughters and lovers and friends and spouses. These are some I just Death is inevitable. Death is a part of life. It's part of life. To think otherwise is willfully ignorant. Uh-huh. However, I should fear old age. I should fear that natural causes will take me when I'm 90 or 100 years old, maybe. I should fear that a condition, high blood pressure or disease, will take me out. I can plan for that. I can if I have cancer, I can take chemotherapy. I have heart disease or high blood pressure. I can take my medicine, change my diet, lose weight. I can do things to prolong my life. I can do things to prolong my to give me longevity into my 90s and my hundreds. But I know that eventually, at the end of it, that one day I will transition from this life to the next. But every day I live my life. I live my life so that when that time comes, I have no regrets. I should not be afraid to go to the grocery store. I should not be afraid to go to the movies. I should not have a panic attack because my son goes to school. Do I have the answers? Nope. Yep. Yep. Well, I had a young man life taken after his prom in the neighborhood. Yeah. It's not just it's we talk about the mass shootings and it's the it's the it's just a willful disregard for life across the board. Young men dying at prom. A mother killing her son. A mother shot her son and was riding around with him in the trunk dead. Guy got mad with his baby mama, so he shot her and her child. I watched a show last night where um, this man's business partner was convicted of murdering his entire family, father, wife, and two kids under the age of 5 with a sledgehammer. I'm not just talking about gun violence, y'all. I'm not just talking about that. I'm just talking about across the board the willful disregard for human life that people have. Instead of getting a divorce, you kill your spouse. You bad with money, so you put an insurance policy on your husband or your wife, and 3 months later they end up dead. On TikTok, I watched the girl film this guy follow her to her car, and when she did the when she hit the thing to open or unlock her car, the dude ran to her passenger door trying to jump in, and she had to lock her car back real quick and walk back to the store that he followed her from. I watched a girl on TikTok get followed from in town to a skate park and had to sit down with strangers because this man followed her all the way. A girl told a guy no, and he followed her into her apartment on the steps and shot her because she didn't want his number. Are y'all getting what I'm putting down? Oh, dang, Miss Doreen, I'm sorry. You right, Debbie. Right. Instead of talking to someone or calling for help, they shoot strangers and innocent people. Yes. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that, Miss Doreen. But that's I don't understand. I don't understand. A woman shot her son and was driving around with him in the trunk. He was 9. What did he do? What did he do? I'm so sorry, Miss Doreen. I don't know how I would have acted. Parents, parents watch their daughter disintegrate instead of putting her in a hospice or letting her go to the hospital, letting somebody else take care of her. Disintegrate into a couch, fuse with a couch, watched her melt away. And that's just this year. That's just this year, y'all. This is not a culmination of 15, 20 years. This is this year. 212 mass shootings. That means that 212 times since January 1st to May 24th, four or more people were shot at one time. Now, I don't know whether they died or not. It's not just about the death, it's about the willful. Just, this is insane to me. This is insane. And then we'll talk about it. Nothing will be done to change the laws or to make it harder for people to get guns or anything. And then in a few days, we'll be talking about another one. 1 minute, yes. Yes. 1 minute of anger, 1 minute of fear. But these mass shootings are not anger and fear. These are calculated things. These are what somebody thought that had to be done. This is not me shooting somebody that I met. Me walking in on my wife and me shooting her is a momentary lapse of judgment. It's a momentary blindness of anger and rage. Me stockpiling guns and bullets, putting those guns and bullets in my car, getting in my car, driving to somewhere else because they're not shooting up their house. They're not even shooting up their neighborhood. They may be mad that they kill their parents. That's first. Kill or shoot because sometimes they don't die. But then they put the guns into the car and they drive the car to somewhere else. These are all choices that you make because at any time you could have just turned the car off, turned the car around, not put the guns in the car. These are choices somebody made to go take the lives of others. These are not momentary lapses in judgment. These people with purpose and thought walk in to places of business, houses of worship, schools, daycares, daycares. Did you hear what I just said? Daycares, an Amish school. What the Amish people do? These are deliberate, willful, well thought out, planned occurrences. These are not lapses in judgment. These are not flashes and moments of rage. These are people who think they are God and that they have the say so over the life of death of others. And they enact their plans. And we are the ones left to carry the weight of what they left behind. We are the ones left to carry the grief and the despair. We are the ones that carry the fear. Do you understand that we, as normal human beings, now carry the fear that not only can we not go to the grocery store or to the movie theater or to church, but we can't send our kids to school. Our children are not safe. So even if it didn't physically happen to us, even if nobody in our family, if nobody in our immediate family or our extended family was harmed by this, we still carry the guilt and the fear. Yep. It has to stop, y'all. How it's going to stop, I don't know. We can say gun control, but there will always be people who fight against that. There will always be good Americans who say it's our right to bear arms. They will always find a way. I don't know the solution, but I know if we don't try and we don't do anything, that definitely nothing will change. Talk to your children, stalk your kids, give your children a safe space to talk to you. Give your children the knowledge that at the end of the day, I know I can always go home, that I don't have to look for a home elsewhere. Don't leave your babies open for the predators out there who want to use them for their ideology, who want to use them for their own gain and purposes. Listen to your kids when they talk to you. Don't just hear them, listen to what they're saying. Do therapy, do psychology, do psychiatrists. Give your kids a no punishment zone so that they'll come and talk to you and tell them what's on their mind and their spirit and their heart. Teach your young men that it's okay to that it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have emotions and have feelings. Teach your young men to respect girls because that's where it starts. If they don't feel like they have to respect anybody, that everybody has to bow to them because they're the man, teach them respect so that they will have a healthy respect for life. Teach your little girls that they're just as strong as their brothers, that they can be anything. Teach your little girls that it is not their fault. Teach your little girls that they have their own brain, their own mind, their own thoughts and feelings, and that those are valid because there are predators. There are people that prey on our children. And it's just as easy as flipping the power switch on their telephones, their iPads, tablets, and computers. Don't take these things away from the children, but make it so that can't nobody come in your baby inbox and tell them no bullshit. That's why I watch YouTube shows. A real happy life. Must be happy. Spread love. Yep. I tell my children needs my love. Yep, they do. Your children need to know. Your son and daughters need to know. Your sons and daughters need to know that they can come to you and tell you, "Mom, I'm gay. I'm bisexual. Mom, I'm depressed. I'm not happy. Mom, I have these big feelings and I don't know what to do with them." I'm just saying mom. I'm saying mom and dad. I mean it mom and dad. I'm just saying mom. So I'm not leaving dad's out. I got these big feelings and I don't know what to do with them. This little girl broke my heart. This little boy told me no. I don't know what to do with these feelings. Your son needs to be able to come to you and say, Dad, I like John. And I don't know what to do with these feelings. Your daughter needs to come to you and say, Mom, I really dig Sharon, but I don't know what to do with these feelings. Mom, this little girl broke my heart. I'm sad and I'm mad and I don't know what to do. Steve broke up with me. I want to cry. I want to fight, Mama. I don't know what to do. Your kids need to be able to come to you and give you all of this. Because if they don't be able to, if they can't come to you, they will come to somebody who has the words, who has the charisma, who has that thing. And it won't always be for the betterment of your kids. So good prayers. How about Debbie to all the children around here? That's what's up. Your kids need to come to you and tell you all that stuff. Uh-huh. My nose stopped up for some reason. Shut you. You heard DC? Her, her and the puppy have returned. Talking about, am I still on here? Somebody wasn't watching the live. Tell them, y'all. I'm just, when your kids come to you talking about anything, be open. Don't be mad. Don't want to scream at them. Don't want to fuss at them. Because I'm telling you, if you can't be your kid's safe space, if you can't be your kid's happy place, somebody else out there is waiting for them to come. Somebody out there right now is waiting for them to put a post out there. And all they see is, I got another one. The air is up high. Wait, what? Well, y'all, I have been on here quite a minute because she been gone the whole time, and my phone is hot. It's hot, 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 hot. Phone is super hot. So I'm about to get off here now, y'all. I want to thank everybody that came through. Yes, Miss Debbie, talk to your kids. I want to thank everybody that came through today. I appreciate y'all listening to me and hanging out. I've been on here almost 2 hours, y'all. I appreciate y'all interacting and talking. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out and hanging out with me. I hate that we have to do these posts. I hate that we have to do these things. I hate that it's necessary. Thank you, Miss Blanche. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that when we go live, y'all can join us. Thank you, Mom Squad. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you, Miss Debbie. I enjoyed you too. We'll be back later on for bingo, y'all. And I'll be back. I'll be back. I don't know what we can do, y'all. But I know we got to do something because this fear is going to kill us. Thank you for hanging out with me. This your girl, Lisa. Thank you so much. Hey, y'all. It's out. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.